Hi, I'm Terry McCready, and I'm presently running for the mayor for the city of Baltimore. Amenity is a key. Rewards are keys. This has got to stop. I'm talking to you as from a citizen to citizen. I know a lot of gang members out there. Fortunately, I knew better when I was a kid because I had a great foundation. When we have crimes here in this Baltimore city, we're in a city of crisis. We have so many vacant houses. You got to understand, since 2011 and present, we've lost 10,000 residents of the city of Baltimore. Do the math. We've got to make this happen. They'll rid the crime out of the neighborhood because they're protecting their property. We've got to work together on this, folks. We have to work together on this. I studied the systems. I'm not perfect, but neither is the city. That yes, I can certainly open the doors to a better Baltimore, and that's what I'm planning on doing. However, my second major problem to tackle is accountability and transparency. Now, being retired from the city and also working with the city, I saw a lot of corruption. And I saw a lot of accountability really being abused. And there was no transparency. I think that if we were to get $30 million for education, that you as John Q. Public should be able to go into that computer and see where every penny of that is spent on education. I don't want to hear Public Works or Transportation want to borrow $5 million. Tough. That money was geared for education. I want to find out where all this money is supposed to go, and I will find out. So accountability and transparency is very close to the violence. Because the transparency and accountability is sometimes like a sister to the violence. So we have to correct that. We won't tolerate corruption in the police department. Will not. Any corruption in the police department will prosecute to the fullest extent. And I believe our commissioner will do this. You have to give him a shot. We've had 6 commissioners in such a short period of time. And each commissioner has different ideas. So what happens? We start from square one all over again with no resolutions to the problem. Nothing. So how do we correct that? Well, it's a community problem as well. Our police officers enforce the law. But you as a community has to help out. Now, if you don't think it could happen in your neighborhood, you're fooling yourself. We've got to get these, and I'll tell you, thugs off the street. And how do we do that? We make arrests. I was asked, what laws would I implement as mayor? Well, why don't we enforce the ones we've got on the books first? And then worry about the additional laws. I mean, it's stop and frisk. It's borderline. It's borderline. But I personally feel that let's take something that people take advantage all the time. Let's take the loitering law. Still on the books. Unfortunately, we don't have enough officers to enforce it, and it is a misdemeanor. So we have to take our priority crimes ahead of these. But however, if you have a group of men hanging on a corner, the officers should ask, do you live here and what's your business here? And if they don't have a legitimate reason for being there other than just hanging out, you should be entitled to ask them for ID. Now, most law-abiding citizens will be more than happy to show you their ID. And if you don't have an ID, the officers, which is in a couple cities I understand, have a mechanism to be able to take your fingerprint. That goes to the database to see whether you're wanted. Now, most of these, quote, thugs don't want to give up their fingerprints. That might deter them from loitering. And of course, you're going to hear all these liberals to turn around and say, that's harassment, and then they're going to bring in the race and everything. Let me tell you something. It is what it is. Then the other question, well, what if they hang in front of a bar? Well, because of the smoking laws, you're going to have people hanging outside. Or you still approach them. Because legally, you're not supposed to be in a bar without an ID. So they have to have an ID. If not, fingerprint. It'll deter them from hanging on these corners, intimidating people walking by, afraid to walk by. My own family do not want me to live in Baltimore City because of the crime. Fear will never chase me out of the city of Baltimore. It will never chase me out of the city of Baltimore. I want to tackle this problem, but I want to tackle it with the citizens of Baltimore. I'm responsible for 600,000 people, and we're all not going to agree. But we're going to make this happen. Again, enough is enough. It's got to stop. The other problems, your education and your filth and trash all over neighborhoods, that'll fall into place. I'll see that happens. But we got to save our young people. Let's face it. They're the backbone of our city. They're the ones that's going to make the city happen. This is affecting Baltimore County and around the county, all the counties around, the states around, that would love to come into Baltimore, which used to be a great city. But because of the crime, they don't want to come in here. Businesses are closing down. They're losing business. The tourist business. We got to correct it. There's a lot of things that have to be addressed here. And what is it all centered around? Our unrest and crime in the city of Baltimore. Fear. Well, you can talk about fear all you want. You can talk about all the crime you want. But talk's cheap. Step up. Step up. You know, I'm 76 years old. And I was questioned why someone retired wants to tackle a big problem like that. And my answer is, because I care. You know, I really care. And as much as I respect all the people that's running for the mayor's office, I need resolution. I need to be satisfied in my heart that that's going to be my leader. It's going to be responsible for my communities in the city of Baltimore. That concerns me. I'm not looking to make a long-term political career out of this. I'm looking to open the door to a better Baltimore. And I really think I can do it. Two people inspired me throughout history. And that was John F. Kennedy and Martin Luther King. And John F. Kennedy said, ask not what your country can do for you, what you can do for your country. Well, let's replace the word country with city. Ask not what the city can do for you. Ask what you can do for the city. We'll form a bond. We'll form a community. And the government becomes part of the family. Does it sound undoable? Or does it sound doable? Sure, it's doable. But not with everybody's cooperation. Now, we're going to have a lot of problems. We're going to have the gangs and the drug dealers and try to change people's minds. And we're going to have these people that do not like to have the government at rest. They don't like that. That doesn't make them money. So we have to fight all these little avenues of problems. But we can do it. We can do it as the city of Baltimore. And, and secondly, I want to quote something. What Martin Luther King said, which really inspired me. We have all come over on different ships. But we're in the same boat now. Now think about that. We come from different walks of life. But we have one common thing in common. One thing, pardon me. One thing in common. We're all in the same boat now as the citizens of Baltimore. So both of those quotes also had a lot of inspired me to want to tackle this. And another thing that some of the candidates haven't mentioned, I guess they think is a given. As mayor, I'm responsible for over 600,000 people. That's a big family to be responsible for. 600,000 people. But you know what? I can make it a happy family. It's going to be tough. It's not an easy fix. This ain't an easy fix. I got the Brooklyn Bridge for sale. But we can make this happen. And we're going to make this happen. I'll be talking to you a little later.